Hello and welcome to another Ready to Ride Pilates for Horse Rider session, and in this session we're going to be focusing purely on your balance, so you don't need to have a huge amount of space to work in, just a little area around you. Balance is so crucial for us as riders. The better our balance, the better we're able to move with our horse, even just on a regular basis without anything untoward happening or without any fences to negotiate. So the more we can improve our balance, the better it's going to be. So let's get ourselves just loosened up. Hopefully you're warmed up and ready to go. But one of the key blocks to having good balance is tension. The more tense you are, the harder it is to be soft and to go with that movement. So you want to be relaxed before you start. So check that your feet are level underneath. You've got a good base to start off from, that your knees are soft. And then we're going to loosen off with your shoulders with some nice big rolls. And so many of us get tense around our shoulders, and that tension is a real blocker to upper body movement and our ability to move with the horse. So it's always good before you start working, particularly if balance is a bit of an issue, making sure you are relaxed around your shoulders. Okay, we're now going to go into your walking. So we're going to keep on the spot today, but starting to think about your diagonal pairs of arms and legs, but making sure that your breathing is really regular and into the base of your lungs. Check that your headlights are pointing straight ahead, and also just make sure that those imaginary ropes or springs that run from your ribs down to your pelvis are working. I flip to the side. If they're not, what's going to start happening is this, which isn't the end of the world, but it does start to make you move a little bit less controlled, and you can then almost over move, which can then disrupt your balance even more. So you want to be controlled in your movement. Okay, we're going to change this now to doing some lunge dips. So you can have your hands across your shoulders or onto your headlights. It's up to you, whichever feels easiest for you. You're going to go forwards into a lunge, down into a dip, and then you're going to turn from side to side. Come back up, forwards, down to that dip, turn, turn, come back up. You can make your dips as small or as deep as you like. The deeper you go, particularly if you're on a lumpy lawn, the deeper you go, the harder it is to keep your balance. As I'm just going to demonstrate by falling over. You will also find that one side will be a little bit easier to do than the other. Try to keep your headlights always to the front and your shoulders as level as you can into those turns. So thinking about your balance, it's not just are you going to fall off, it's can you balance if you want to turn your body to both sides. So if you're doing lateral work, if you're turning over fence, between fences, you want to know you've got good control through your upper body wherever you want to put it. Okie doke. We're going to move on now to your star lunges. So again, you can have your hands onto your headlights or across your chest if you want to. So again, this is really good for your dynamic balance, particularly useful if you do a lot of jumping. So you're going to be going forwards, diagonal, side, diagonal back, and back onto a bent knee. Hope you're not going into a tree like I am. So back onto a bent knee, diagonal, side, diagonal forwards, and forwards. Okay, we're going to go off with the other leg. Really make sure now that your shoulders are level, headlights are to the front. Apologies for the noise, there's building work going on. Diagonal, side, diagonal back, back onto a bent knee, and again, back onto the bent knee, diagonal, sideways, diagonal forwards, forwards. Okay, good job. Just relax through your shoulders for a moment. Just make sure you haven't got a little bit tense doing that, because you're thinking about where your legs and your pelvis are going. Relax through your upper body. Okay, we're going to move on to one of my favourite exercises, if not my overall favourite, which is your warrior. You want to be standing on one leg, arms up in front, so kind of as if you were holding your reins. Relax your shoulders back and down. The movement you are aiming for is here, but work within what feels comfortable for you. So it may be that this is the range that you feel comfortable in. So do what feels comfortable for you without falling over. So much easier when you're doing this on a firm, solid base. Watch that your hands stay level. Mind you, having said that, a horse is not a firm, solid base. So challenging yourself like I am doing this on a surface that isn't smooth and level can be useful. Don't forget to breathe. Keep checking that your hands are staying level, and try not to stare at your hands. Thinking about when you're in the saddle, you don't want to be staring at your hands to know that they're level. You want to just know that they are level and equal. Okay, let's move on to your other leg. So same setup, arms as if you were holding onto your reins, and then again aiming for here, but if you feel comfortable just with this range, that's absolutely fine. And again, you may well find that one leg is easier to do than the other. That's very normal, but hopefully over time as you work, you'll find that you balance out a lot more, and you should have much better equality with your balance on both sides. Again, focus on keeping your hands really level, but without staring at them. And like with the other exercises we do, a lot of this is about your control through the movement. It's not just do you end up in a controlled position, it's your control in and out. Last one. Super job. Okay, little walk on the spot because your glutes have just worked really hard doing that exercise. We're going to move on to another one which is quite risky for me to be doing on a lumpy lawn, but hopefully it'll be a bit easier for you doing this at home. We're going to move on to your warrior, we've just done your warrior, your aeroplane exercise. So again, onto one leg, this time with your arms out to the side. You're trying to get your arms at this 180-degree angle between them. As you lean forward to touch the floor with one hand, come back up, turn, and touch the floor with the other hand. But like with the warrior, go with what works for you. So it may well be that you can only do this in this position. Now this is absolutely fine. This is still really challenging your balance, so don't worry at all if this is where you feel safe or confident or comfortable, because it may well be that you get knee pain if you try and go too deep. So you work with what your body will allow. Also try to make sure that your arms stay at 180 degrees. It's really hard doing this with no kind of feedback. Sometimes I do this in a session with a resistance band, and that gives a lot more feedback, and it's much easier to keep your arms at that 180-degree mark. One more each way. Okay, bring your arms down, swap onto the other foot, get your balance, then arms out once again, and exactly the same thing. So turning to the floor and turn to the floor with the other hand. Trying to keep your hands at that 180-degree mark. It is really hard. You almost have to feel like the hand that's behind you, almost have to push it away. Otherwise, and I can see myself on my screen here, I can see as I come up that I've lost some of that 180-degree positioning. It is hard. So if you find that you're consistently losing that 180-degree positioning, then maybe make it a little bit easier. So doing in this half position, and see if you can hold that 180-degree position just a little bit better. Try and do a couple more. Lovely job. Okay, arms back down. Another little walk on the spot, because again, your glutes and your calves have worked really hard doing those exercises. They're working hard in a very small range of movement, that's probably the activity that makes us most uncomfortable in our muscles, when they're very static but working really hard. Okay, we're going to move on to standing on one leg once again. This time we're going to do some heel lifts. So again, if you are doing this on a nice flat surface, you've got no excuse for not being able to balance while you do this, but your focus now is relaxation through your upper body. So trying to keep soft and relaxed even though you're working really hard in your calf muscles, and it's hard balancing just on your toes. Okay, let's swap and do this on the other leg. So again, relax through your upper body first, and then off you go. Keep checking, are you relaxed and floppy through your shoulders right down through to your fingertips? Okie doke, last one, super. Okay, so all you need now is a little ball or something, anything to be honest, that you can just throw and catch. Doesn't have to be a ball, just something that's you're safe with. And you're going to stand on one leg once again. I'd like you just to start off throwing it up and down in front of you. Should be really easy. Then I'd like you to see if you can throw it high enough without taking out your light fittings or anything else. High enough that you have to actually look up. So move your head. It's much, much harder when you have to move your head, because then you can no longer rely on your eyes to give you that balance. You're relying totally on the feedback that is coming through your foot. Let's swap and have a go on the other leg. So same again, start off just little ones up and down just in front so you don't have to move your head. Then start to make it a bit higher. So you have to really just use your feedback coming up through your foot to help you keep balance. Again, if you're on a nice even surface, this is way easier. But as a horse doesn't move, isn't a nice even surface and always on the move, I kind of feel like I'm giving myself a good workout just by being on a lumpy lawn. Okay, so pop your ball down, another little walk on the spot, and then we're going to finish off with your backwards walking. So if you go to the front of your mat, have one foot just in front of the other one, then you're going to take your weight forwards, then step back and push down through your back heel. And again, weight forwards, step back and push down through your back heel, and then one more time, weight forwards, step back and push down. Then we're going to swap and have the other foot in front, and then again it's weight forwards over that front foot, little step back, push that heel down, weight forwards, little step back and push down, and then one more time, weight forwards, little step back and push down, and then up you come and have both feet back underneath you. And again, before you finish, just check that your feet are equal underneath you, your headlights are forwards, shoulders back and down and relaxed so there's no tension carried through. And try to have that feeling that you kind of grow an extra inch in height. And we're going to finish there. So some of those exercises were really quite hard, but remember you can modify them to make them as easy as you need to. And if you struggle on a slightly lumpy surface like me, then the smoother and flatter your surface is the better. But don't forget, in the long run, you want to be able to balance on pretty much anything, and then you should be able to cope with a nice moving horse. Thank you for joining. I hope it was useful. Look after yourselves and I'll see you very soon.